Hello, and thanks for mathing with me today. In this video, we will be finding perimeter and area of shapes. Let's start with perimeter. The perimeter is the measurement of the distance around a two-dimensional shape. In general, we can find the perimeter of a shape by adding up its side lengths. There are, however, some formulas that may be shortcuts. For example, if you have a square, instead of adding all four sides that are the same length, we just multiply 4 times one of the side lengths. For a rectangle, we have the width and the height. If we add those together and then multiply it by 2, we will be essentially adding up all four sides. However, when in doubt, just add the side lengths together. Let's try some examples. Let's find the perimeter by adding the side lengths. And don't forget to add units when units are included. Example number 1 says, find the perimeter of a scalene triangle with side lengths 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, and 7 centimeters. To find the perimeter, all we need to do is add those side lengths. So P equals 2 plus 3 plus 7. 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 7. So here the perimeter is equal to 12, and then we have units, centimeters. Let's try number 2. Find the perimeter of a square with side lengths of 10 feet. If you remember the formula, we know that the perimeter of a square is just 4 times the side length. So 4 times 10, which is equal to 40, and in this case, feet. However, if you didn't remember that, you could also write perimeter equals 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, which also equals 40 feet. So in either way you do it, you're going to get 40 feet. Let's try number 3. In number 3, we have an odd shape. And what I notice is that it is a shape that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, but I only see 4 measurements. And so I'm going to go ahead and trace over the sides that we have measurements for so that it's easy to see the side lengths that we're missing measurements for. We want to find those measurements before we go ahead and calculate our perimeter. And so we're going to use the given side lengths to find the missing side length. So if we know that this side length down here is 9 centimeters, then we know, and we also know that this is 4 centimeters, then we can subtract the 4 from the 9 to determine that this length here is 5 centimeters. So now we know this side length, and we still have one remaining missing side length here. So again, we're going to use the fact that we know this side length here is 10 centimeters, and we know this space here is 4, so we know that this is the difference between 10 and 4, which is 6. Now we have all of the side lengths, so we can add them all together to find the perimeter. So then we have perimeter equals 5 plus 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 9 plus 10. Okay, so that means that perimeter equals 5 plus 4, which is 9, plus 4 is 13, plus 6 is 19, plus 9 is 28, plus 10 is 38. So our perimeter then equals 38 centimeters. Now it's your turn to try some examples. Find the perimeter in numbers 4 and 5. Go ahead and pause the video and try those now. All right, in number 4, we have a rectangle. So if you remembered that formula, 2 times length plus width, you could have found it using that, or you could just find it by adding up all 4 sides. It helps sometimes to draw a diagram labeling the sides 8 and 3, and that helps you to recognize that in fact you do have 4 sides of a rectangle with 4 different measurements. When we add those up, we get 22 centimeters. In number 5, it's a very irregular polygon. And when you add up all the side lengths, you end up with a perimeter of 22. And there is no units on this one, but make sure you added your centimeters in number 4. Let's move on to area. In this next section of the video, we are going to find area of polygons. The area of a polygon is simply the measure of a surface. As you can see from the diagrams, each different shape has a different formula for area. So it's not as simple as perimeter where we can just add something up that is the same for every shape. For a triangle, it is 1/2 the base, which is the length of the base, that's the bottom portion, times the height, which is the height of it, how tall the triangle is. For a rectangle, the area is the width times the height. For a trapezoid, the area is 1/2 the top plus the bottom quantity times the height. The square is going to be just like the rectangle. It's a squared, or the side length squared, but that is simply the same because we have the width times the height is the same, right? Because since the width and the height are the same length, we can just square it. And then the parallelogram is, again, base times height. So you notice that the rectangle, the square, and the parallelogram are essentially the same area. So you can remember that those you would basically calculate in the same way. Another helpful hint for remembering what a triangle is, if you can think about how a rectangle, if we were to kind of cut this rectangle or the square kind of on a diagonal, notice that there are two triangles. And so since the area of a rectangle or a square is basically width times height, notice that the width is similar to the base of the triangle, and the height, right, would be pretty much the same. And notice that we have a triangle and that is half of the rectangle. So that's kind of where the triangle's area formula is derived from, the fact that it is half of the space that it would take up if we had two triangles and that made a rectangle. And if we think about the trapezoid here, basically we're taking the average of this length, the lengths of the top side and the bottom side. So we're adding those together and dividing by 2, which is the average of the two top and bottom lengths, and then we're multiplying that by the height. So that is similar to our base times height formula as well, except that we have two different side lengths here, so we have to average them. Hopefully this helps you to memorize or remember the formulas when you're needing to calculate area. Let's try some examples. In this first example, we're asked to find the area of this rectangle. This rectangle has the width of 5 and a height of 3. So if we remember, the area of our rectangle is width times height. So let's substitute those values in. That gives us 5 times 3, which equals 15. So the area of this rectangle is 15. Let's try to find the area of the triangle in number 2. If we remember, the area of the triangle formula is 1/2 base times height. So here in this triangle, our base is going to be 20 and our height is going to equal 12. So we want to plug those values into our equation. So area equals 1/2, our base is 20, and our height is 12. Now, to simplify this, I find it easier to divide that number in half first, right? We multiply left to right. So 1/2 times 20 is equal to 10, and then we're multiplying that times 12. So I'm going to write, we're running out of space here. So area here is equal to 120. Let's try one more example together. In the example in number 3, we have the area of a parallelogram. So we are going to find the area of a parallelogram. If we remember, this is the same area as our rectangle. So this area equals base times height as well. So we're going to substitute our base value in, which is 8, and our height is 5, which gives us 40. So the area of our parallelogram is 40. Now, don't forget if there's units included with any of these examples that you must include units in your final answer. Now it's your turn to try some examples. Pause the video and try numbers 4, 5, and 6 on your own. All right, hopefully you paused the video and you were able to find the area in number 4 was 20, the area of the triangle in number 5 was 15, and the area of the trapezoid in number 6 was 22. I hope this video was helpful to you in finding perimeter and area of different polygons. Thanks so much for mathing with me today.